started this computer. Yes, there we go. So, welcome everyone. I will do the sort of same blah blah as usual, just because we're recording this. So if anyone is watching this who is not familiar with IFT Days, so quickly, we are a group of forest friends who come from all over, and we started out in 2018 as a live event, in 2019 as well, 2 times in Finland, and then we brought things online when the pandemic happened, and then ever since we've been doing things more or less online and more locally. And we bring up topics around forest bathing and anything that is of interest, and everyone's voice is welcome. And so these are circles for exchanging and exploring. And today, so I'm Katrina. I'm one of the initiators of this reckless endeavor. And today, the idea came from myself, and I invited Sara and Nitin to join in a discussion. And the way we wanted to do this, and since we are in a small group, it's even better. We'll just start with a little bit of idea is that I bring my approach, Sara as well, and then Nitin as well. And Nitin has also a little surprise for us. And then we'll just open it up to everyone's exchange and experiences, and let's see where we end up. So the idea was, I'm going to time myself so I don't take over the whole time. So I started over 6 months ago training as a MBSR, so mindfulness based stress reduction program, training in Brussels mindfulness. And ever since, I've really been thinking about how I hear and see things come up, and they are all very familiar to me in forest bathing and the different kinds of forest bathing practices that I have been following. And also within this journey of mindfulness, I noticed that because in the mindfulness program, you also do yoga, and you learn to guide yoga sequences. Only we don't call it yoga, we call it mindful movement. And I have had like this big brain, I don't know, a moment of realization that I have been understanding yoga, for example, completely wrong. Because I have come from the idea that yoga is for, yeah, sure, it's like connecting with yourself as well through the bodily movements. Maybe I'm just talking from my point of view, but because I have not been really connected with my body, I have just thought of it as something I do for my physical body that is good, and that's it. So I noticed that I feel like these different practices for me are sort of pathways to the same, but in a little bit different way. As in, with forest bathing, the way I understand this is it's so much, of course, but it's like it's coming home to what is open. But it's like by tuning into the outside with the senses, you sort of gently tune into yourself. But I have not really made that link for myself. And I think that's the wonder of forest bathing, is that for people who are maybe disconnected from the body mind, as in that they don't really feel embodied or grounded, that forest bathing gives a very gentle entry to that experience, because it happens kind of secretly, And like Sarah was saying, it's a shortcut. It feels like a shortcut, and that's how it is for me. Now, for me, with the mindfulness, because I'm a forest mind trainer, and forest mind is a bit different from forest bathing, is that we start out with the sensory exercises, with forest bathing exercises. But what we do then is there is pure mindfulness there too. There are presence exercises, and then towards the end, then you start sort of introspecting as well. So it has a different function. And I noticed that as a forest mind trainer, I'm very much supported by mindfulness and the whole training as a mindfulness mindfulness teacher. Teacher is not necessarily a word I would use. And then meditation is something completely different for me. And I feel like I am, what's the word? Intimidated, because we've talked about this with Nitin, who has a years of meditation practice. And for me, it's like, that's the heavy duty for me. As in mindfulness and meditation, yes, the same, but somehow I see in my mind, meditation is like, gazing at the wall, as in eyes open, just like focus on the posture. And it has its benefits for me. And sometimes I really feel like, oh, I need this. This is going to give me the same feeling of centeredness. But I don't have the discipline to do that every day. So I'd rather do yoga or forest bathing or mindfulness thinking, like body scan or awareness of breath. But it all brings me back. So for me, it feels like these are all different ways. And depending on where you are in your, I don't know what it's called, in your journey or in your capacity, let's say, you take different things out of these practices. So in the beginning, for me, yoga was purely a physical exercise because that's all I could get out of it. I was drawn to it, but not consciously. Something about yoga really, and especially Ashtanga yoga, that drew me really into it. And I was very much into it, but I never connected it with anything else except the physical. So now I think there's more capacity to understand, and that is thanks to all these other practices. So I feel like all of them together support my well-being. I'm going to leave it there. There's so much more to say, but yeah, that's it, my podcast. And then Sarah, maybe?
Yes, I will. I can share something from my own path. Sorry, oh no, my little assistant wants to play piano here, so maybe I will put the sound down now. Yeah, but so I have many similar thoughts as Katrina, and I could resonate with almost all of them, I think. And on my journey, I have also been doing all of the above mentioned practices in some way or another. And I think I started with yoga like 10 years ago, but it was very much focused on more of this physical part, as Katrina said as well. Just something that was good for me. And then I also started doing mindfulness with kind of the same starting point. I needed to fix my anxiety, so I found, oh, this works well, and then I just first started just to make myself feel better, and then gradually realizing there is more to the picture, and bigger things than just feeling better, but finding something bigger and more bigger truth, if I may say, but some my truth at least. But then last autumn, I started doing the yoga teacher training here in Finland, and I felt that I needed something I wanted to dig deeper into the yoga practice because I felt that there was more that I wasn't aware of, and I wanted to dig deeper, and I felt the need to really connect to my body on a daily basis because I have all these other practices of forest bathing and these mindfulness practices, but I felt need that I need to connect to my body more as well, and I felt that yoga was a good gateway for me to experiment with that. And the yoga that I have now been doing in my training is quite different from the other yogas that I've been doing over the years, because this is really like inward focused, and there is we talk a lot about the yoga philosophy and all these different paths of yoga, like how it's not only the asanas but the breathing and the reading, the philosophy, and all these other parts of yoga. And the asanas we do, it's also like very mindful. It's like carefully building the asanas, the postures, and connecting always with the body and mind, and like how it feels in your body, and kind of this like energetic working, like, okay, I am doing a lot on the inside, but on the outside it might seem that I'm doing nothing. Like, for example, standing straight, and then there's so much happening on the inside when you really start to noticing, like, oh, there is so much to find only in, like, when you tune in and somebody helps you to find these like worlds that you find in yourself, in your body, and and it's been really really mind blowing to do this kind of daily practice in my body. As a person that is very much always in my mind and everywhere and going all places, and I'm sure many can relate to that. But for me, the goal of yoga has been now to really find more space for a greater connection, like creating space and working toward like a connecting to something greater, something, the consciousness, the everything, the nothing, whatever you may call it, but kind of finding a way towards that. And yeah, it's really, this is such a big topic, as Katrina says, that it could be approached from so many angles, but for me as well, I think forest bathing, yoga, and mindfulness have always taken me towards the same kind of goal. Sorry, same kind of goal, and I feel that they have been like different maps or paths, and maybe for different places in my life, all these different practices have helped. But I also think that different people may benefit from different kinds of practices, that not everyone needs all of these maps. But for me, all of these have been helpful in creating this whole picture of my own life and where I want to go and what is the, well, yeah. But I think there are some people that would find maybe yoga more beneficial than maybe mindfulness, but I feel that they go into the same direction, and yeah, give different maps to different people in different life stages to the same direction. But that's maybe the things that I say now, and hopefully, yeah, we get to discuss more.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. And then now I'm going to say it because I already said that. Now Nitin's going to tell us how it really is, because he's sitting in the source of all these practices. So we can just come up with our own little Winnie the Pooh explanations. But, so Mr. Das, what's the point of view?
Okay, so basically I'm going to show 3 small films. And well, in India, especially in the yoga format. They say that there are 4 different routes to enlightenment. Depending on what kind of a person you are, there are 4 different approaches. For many people, it's the body. So you use yoga and the asanas and the pranayam, your breath and your body work can lead you to enlightenment. Then there are some people who get nothing out of yoga. For them, sometimes the meditation and intellectual inquiry works. So these are the people who are more mind-based, and for them, just meditating on what is enlightenment and what is the purpose of who I am can lead you to an enlightened stage. But there are not so many intellectuals in the world. So for many people, the easiest way and the simplest way is devotion. And devotion comes through, it could come through music, church, community, so any religion, that's why you feel and you find that devotion, rituals, they bring people together and they create a atmosphere where people can reach a higher stage of consciousness. So devotion is a route, is a valid route to reaching a higher stage of mind. And there are a fourth kind of people for whom devotion doesn't work. They don't believe in God and they don't believe in anything supernatural. And yet they can find enlightenment through service. So through selfless service, they can reach a stage of higher consciousness, and then the basic question then comes that what is this enlightenment that we're talking about? And what is this goal? Is it some state of being like LSD, or if you've had maybe some mushrooms, is that enlightenment, or is that different? So while I don't have any answers to that personally, but instead of saying that meditation is one particular thing or defining it as one thing, one very good analogy from forest bathing or from nature is that meditation is like a river. So a river is not one thing. It is different things at different stages. And when it is young, the goal is different. And so I'm going to show 3 different films from 3 different stages of the meditation and what it goes can be. Okay. So the first one, and these are all from films from the Himalayas, mostly. So we'll watch the videos and then maybe talk about the video. Okay.
Welcome, Bikash. Welcome, Justina, in the meantime.
Need to 1 second. Okay, the first one is from Northeast India. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, I'm seeing it.
Yep.
I'm wondering if you can see. Okay.
Us. You can't hear, you can't see our picture, so I was showing a thumb.
Right. So trying to give it a full screen, but this is as big as it goes. So in the initial stages of the river, the first stage is basically trying to find itself, and you're exploring the world, and you're finding yourself, and you're finding your own imperfections and accepting that. But as you go through the journey of life, the river meets a lot of different challenges, and then it reaches the plains, and it has to then evolve to the next stage. So the next stage is a video that I wanted to show, but that's not playing, so I'm sharing a different one from one of our earlier trips. And that video is featuring Katrina. So Katrina starring in that video.
I know this one.
So the second stage, at least what they say, is about finding answers for life's big questions. And, it's sometimes quite challenging because life goes through ups and downs, and then you always find yourself in situations where there are things you can change and there are things you can't. And then how do you deal with those situations? And that's where meditation comes and helps you, because it guides you out of those situations. And the final stage is when the river is going to meet the sea, and there are no questions left, or you are beyond question and answers. So what is that stage, and what is the goal then? So this is the last and final film, and then maybe open to discussions, right? And this one is back to India, and this one is from Bhutan, close to Nepal. So the final stage is called selflessness, or the erasure of your ego, where there is no self left, and you identify with all beings on the planet. And this is the journey. And then again, the cycle happens because, like the bodhisattvas, they say that we will continue to be on earth until everyone is enlightenment, until everyone has found their answer. So these were just simple attempts at trying to capture the essence of the learning. But the idea is, also to spark a conversation, and for each one of us, maybe talk about what stage we are at, and what has been our experience of meditation, what has worked and what has not worked. It would be good to learn from that, I guess.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, opening the floor to everyone. Yeah, Maita.
I actually have a question for Nitin. Hello, Nitin. How are you? Hello, everybody. Could you remember us the 4 stages or 5 stages that were?
The 4 different ways, the different paths for different people. One is yoga, or the body. The other is the mind and meditation. The third is devotion. Simple things like singing or believing in somebody higher up. And the fourth is selfless service. Karma yoga. So karma, the exact Sanskrit terms you don't need to know. It's too confusing. Yeah, so you have to figure out which route is best for you, or which combination.
But to be I mean, don't we want to reach balance between all of them?
Well, it's like some people like pop and some people like rock music. And then people who like rock music, if you make them hear pop, no matter how much pop they hear, they never like it.
Okay.
So people who are into devotion, no amount of intellectual, discussion, conversation will get them to that stage. And it's not that, you can only fit in one bucket. You have your own unique way of teaching it, and you have to find out what works for you, what combination. But these are 4 popular routes.
So when I look at these routes, I would combine yoga with the body. The body, the vehicle which we get from the day we are born until the day we go.
Yeah.
I would combine the meditation with the mind, our brain, the right and the left hemisphere, which helps us to be on time, the rational thinking. But then the creative thinking is so nice to feel free, or to go into the unknown, or to be creative, God thank we are not only left-brained. Devotion, I could connect. I mean, I'm talking from my belief, from my point of view. I would connect devotion to the heart. The heart is where your emotions are, your energy emotion, where your heart is going up and down, where you absorb from the outside world. You take from the outside world all the beauty, everything you hear, see, smell, taste, comes into your heart, creates sensations within your body, you know, and whatever comes into your heart, it's first quickly being checked in your brain, then to be sensed as a beautiful thing, or maybe because if it would be triggered, to be placed as a trauma or to a higher triggered reaction, let's say. And so I always say body awareness, because with body awareness, you know, you treat your body well. Heart coherence, send out the right vibrations to receive back what you want, you know, working with the law of attraction and stuff like that. And then mind balance, making sure that you're not a control freak, nor, you know, too much of a laissez-faire personality. You know, it's still nice when you have a job that you are there on time and stuff. And if you have these three in harmony, these three aligned, then you can reach out to what you would call the karma yoga, the selflessness, what I would then call the universal spirit, your universal spirit, but as well the universal spirit from around, you know, and that's really where, in exactly what you say, the selflessness comes into place, because you kind of flow with the river, and because, you know, you send out the beautiful signs, so you get synchronicity, you get these aha moments, and yeah, that's when life becomes very nice and sympathetic to you. So nice, thank you.
Can I ask something, unless somebody else wants to dig in? So Nitin, you're saying, you know, seeking enlightenment. But the thing is, that's coming from a perspective. Not everyone is seeking enlightenment. Or maybe we are seeking enlightenment, we just don't know it, or we call a different word for it. Like for me, I want to be at peace in even the difficult situations, that I can find peace in my anger and my despair and turmoil, that there's still the undertone of peace. And some other people call it maybe happiness, which we know is not necessarily even, you shouldn't even try to just be happy, because then you're going to be numbing and on a dopamine high. But can we expect everyone to be seeking enlightenment? Because I don't think it's available in the awareness of people that, oh, you know, life is not only just 9 to 5 and being in the thing, but a lot of people might not ever break out from that kind of thinking.
Correct. That's why, you know, those films were meant to say that enlightenment is not just one thing. It is different things for different people. And depending on what stage of life you're in, enlightenment means something different for you. And then you clear, it's like a game actually. You clear level 1, but then enlightenment changes. And then you have to chase something. But the masters say it's not about getting enlightenment, it's about realizing. So you can never get it. The more you chase it, the harder it is to get. It's more about realizing. I guess we should ask other people to put in their thoughts and experiences. Go for it.
Hi, so good to see you guys. And it was so nice to see the movie from Finland, especially. It really brought beautiful memories. It's very interesting what you're saying, Nitin, because it's Eastern philosophy. And this year I'm studying kind of Western philosophy, but also inspired by Eastern, because it's Carl Gustav Jung philosophy. And according to Jung, there are 4 ways of getting to know how the world functions for different mental functions. And it's quite similar, because it's intellect, mind, there are emotions, senses, and intuition. So it's kind of similar to what you say, what you said. And according to this philosophy, usually people in the second half of their life, so 40 and over, usually, they're looking for something deeper, to be the whole part So if we have something which is deep inside, which is hidden, we try to dig deeper to find out what is more, I don't know, maybe not obvious for us, but we have it somewhere. So we are in the middle age crisis, but this is because we try to find out who we are. And it's called individuation. So I guess maybe not everyone calls it enlightenment, but trying to figure out how I work as a whole person, how the universe works, and what is connection between us. It can also be find a way to find enlightenment. So just reflection about it.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to give you also room, but I just wanted to say the individuation and the crisis, midlife crisis. Why do we call it? I mean, maybe it's in my head, but I think crisis is a negative word. So that we are, this is my reflection is, if we call that a crisis, then it means like, oh, quickly you have to get out of it. You have to be talked out away from it, which is not, you should be in that crisis. But I really don't like that word, because it makes it sound like it's some sort of a bad thing for us to go through, whereas it's actually a necessary part, that you have reached the stage where you can ask questions. And I actually have to raise my hat to Ben Page, because I remember in 2018, Ben used the word individuation. I was on the train and we were on the phone, and he talked about, and then he mentioned individuation, and I was like, what is that? And it took me 4 years to understand. So
you know, I totally agree, because first time I tried to discover my dark sides, I went not through a crisis, but for me it was a blessing that, okay, I'm becoming more aware. So maybe the world and me myself are not nice like in the past, but it's more real. So it wasn't crisis, it was very nice, and I really enjoyed it. But after that, I realized that, okay, but it's not that easy. So it was crisis because I struggled and I tried to put the puzzles together, and it wasn't, still it's not a very nice, fluffy way of living. But it's really necessary, I think. So maybe this word crisis, it's not the happiest solution. I would say is, I don't know. It's a good question. What word can we use? Middle age, what? Individuation is kind of scientific maybe, but still there is something important. Enlightenment is very spiritual. But yeah, we try to be the whole thing, and it's not easy, but it's necessary, I think. And it's good.
Sarah is asking in the chat, because I think assistant has taken over, is what is the role of a teacher in these different practices, and is there a difference? Oh, these are big questions, Sarah, so thanks. Do we need a teacher to reach the enlightenment? Yeah, well, I'm gonna say that for me, we have what is it? They're like ships in the sea that we come across, and we get messages from them, and whether or not it hits the right spot depends on I don't know what. But for me, as for example, Ben gave me the word and I didn't get it, but it stayed with me for years after, and now I get it. But the chance was given me then to say, oh, look deeper here. That would have maybe given me a shortcut, but I wasn't ready because of. So I'm thinking maybe not one teacher, maybe many. What about you guys?
Yeah, I find the same as you, that many short-term teachers are good, so that you can pick up what skills you need for that moment, and then go explore yourself, and then look for another guide or teacher, or when you sort of want to go further, or if you get stuck. But rather than having, say, like a guru or someone like that you kind of become fixed to, yeah, just have teachers as you need them to take you step after step. But yeah, I mean, I'm an old man, but I've I never went through a midlife crisis or anything like that. And I think that happens to a lot of people who are resistant to change. Like they've stayed too long in one flow. Whereas I've always been happy to kind of change, and so I kind of I've always been pretty much happy with what I'm doing at any given time. Like I haven't overstayed. You know how you get sometimes have a guest and they overstay, and I think you can do that in your life as well. You know, whether it's a career or a partnership or relationship or whatever. Whereas if you're open to change and open to letting go, then I don't think you reach that crisis. No, it's just my experience. Yeah.
That's brilliant. You just gave me a message again. Thank you. Yeah, for me personally, that was really big.
Oh, right. I appreciate it. Yeah, just one other thing I'll say. Yeah, as an old man, yeah, so not really looking for enlightenment. I think I'm looking for. I'm always a happy man, so I'm always happy and cheerful, and I think it's just learning how to express gratitude always, and then just also expressing love. And yeah, I don't know, maybe love is enlightenment. Enlightenment is just love, just living in love with life, I guess, yeah, and being grateful and expressing your gratitude. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm going to put some keywords in the chat. Yeah, anyone, please chime in.
Yeah, good morning, namaste, everyone. Are you hearing? Am I
Now it's
audible?
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have some thoughts regarding how I participate in this virtual event. Just in the morning, yesterday I saw email and I was quite occupied with the grading student papers, and I was not aware that today I will join. But as soon as I finished grading the 70 students paper, I had a random click in my brain about IFT days meeting, and I am connecting here, and I'm now thinking how the thoughts are connected to the Akashic energy and how it influence, because I saw the video of Nitin and I'm always inspired, and tomorrow I'm taking class and I'm showing to my student these videos. Or if I could not have participated in this event, the the things could be different in the tomorrow's class, because there were two options in my mind. I had invited by one of my student for a party at 1 o'clock, and I was randomly thinking after finishing my grade I go with him. But just within a very microsecond I thought about this event. I'm quite curious. I don't know how the thoughts and things are interrelated, and how the Akashic energy and make us to think in terms of mind, movement. I don't know. I can say it like this. Did I make any sense? There were two thoughts. One to go to the drink party, one to in IFT days meeting. But I was not thinking before 1 2 hours, but just very little microsecond I thought and I dive in. So I'm curious how this is happening. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Vikash. That's great. I think from what you say, people will take it differently just because of where we are at. But Maita, maybe you have something to say to that, because that's the synchronicity, maybe. Did you listen?
Yeah, maybe.
We could just to hear from people their experiences, and anyone who hasn't put in their word in the circle, maybe Paulina and Martina can, and Senfuma can, Moses can say a few words just to add to the circle.
Anyone can.
And see,
Other-
Paulina is doing a dance movement, a silent dance movement meditation for us. Maybe she's driving, so she can't really focus on the conversation.
Yeah,
Over to you,
I'm
Katrina.
in a journey, so with other people, so that's why I'm so quiet. But for me, crisis is it's a huge word, and for me, it's my best things in my life. It's happened. It have a connection with the crisis. So I think it's very important. What is your mindset? What do you think about the world, and what you can get it from the crisis? For me, it was the most of best things in my life. Yes, I want to say that. But when I'm now, when I have a crisis, I remember the things which happened many years ago, and I have lots of I forget this word in English. Jakie zaufanie po angielsku? Kasia Simonienko? Believe? I believe in myself and in the
I'm
world.
here. What?
Jakie zaufanie po angielsku?
Trust.
Thanks. I trust myself and I believe in myself, and I believe that if the wrong things happened in my life, they probably I need them to understand something. So for me, crisis is I need crisis to understand lots of things. Of course, I need beautiful moments to understand something, but if somebody have had a crisis, for example, someone is sick, 5 years ago, I was very sick. I can't walk for 3 weeks, and it was the biggest crisis in my life. And I think my body needs that, and my mind needs that to understand that I need to change something. Maybe not some, lots of things in my life. So I do that, and I think I think I need to change. For example, in a few, maybe 1 year ago, I don't know things that I know now, and I know that, for example, in another year or years, I will know another very important things about crisis. So for me, it's a part of life. Even in forest had the same situation.
it's becoming hard to hear. Yeah, I don't think we can hear you now anymore, Paulina. But what you're doing is yeah,
The crisis too. So we are.
Okay, but what she did was she brought it back to the forest, which is what I wanted to ask. How do we bring this back to forest bathing? So thanks for your input, Paulina. And you mentioned forest, so how do we bring this into the forest bathing realm? How can we, what are your thoughts there?
If I may add, for me, all those 4 practices which Nitin mentioned can be successfully practiced in the forest, and it's very natural. And I remember my first yoga classes. It was in the building in the city center. So I went there once, twice, 3 times, and I recognized that it's something wrong with this. I didn't know why, because my husband was attending for several, I don't know, for a couple of months, and it worked for him. And finally, I recognized that it would be better working for me if it were in nature, because I was trying to connect to my body, to my spirit, to find inner peace, but I couldn't find connection to natural world. And I think it's about this ego solution, this yoga karma, that we are becoming different beings at the same time, that we are in very broad connection with other beings. I couldn't feel it because I was isolated somehow in the city center in a high building. But I love mindfulness in nature. I like practicing some physical exercises in nature. And especially meditation in nature, it's like reading very a wide book, or looking through the mirror, or looking to, I don't know, diving into your unconsciousness, because you can find everything in the forest. So if you're looking for enlightenment, I think you're like diving into deep parts of yourself, and you can find metaphors, pick them, and try if they're similar to some processes inside your heart. So Nitin was asking to think which way of these 4 routes is best for yourself, and I'm thinking about having mix, trying different things, because I guess we are on different stages of our life in different points. So maybe when I was younger, I needed more body. Now I need more spirit. Previously, I needed more intellect. But I can switch from one to another. And the forest is like everything. It's like coming home. So where to find enlightenment if not at home?
Beautifully put. Thank you. Moses, can you talk? You're on mute. That's why I asked you to maybe type it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad to meet you in the platform. For my side, in Uganda, it's a tropical country, and you really enjoyable with its climate. So we started the forest bathing by the way of connecting with nature. We started saying that we respect nature. So in the kind of respecting nature, we thought that it was important to respect it through actions. That is, whenever I could go to the forest, we could first of all seek permission from nature so that it accepts what we are going to do there, because now we're 2 parties, ourselves and the forest. So we wanted to share our being there in the forest so that it accepts us. Then as it accepts us, we accept its senses. It rejuvenates our senses. And when the senses are really connected with the nature, we will start learning from the forest as a teacher, as a guide, as an example of the way things run in the society. So we are looking at the way it decomposes east, west, the old leaves and the west branches of trees. It could not heap there a lot of garbage. We saw the way to decompose it so that it uses it again. But then when we compared it to ourselves in the city where we stay, we saw that whenever we have the heap of garbage, we have to call the town council, the municipal council to come and collect the garbage. Without collecting it, then we would suffer the consequences of the decomposing garbage. So it could give us toxic smell. But whenever we could be in the forest, that smell was not there. We could sit there in a natural way and feel we are home. We could sense the sounds. The sounds of the trees were really matching with what we wanted to feel like relaxed from the busy schedules we always run in the group or at work. So whenever I could be there, it was the silence that could calm our busy minds and we could feel at home. We could feel relaxed. So it became a relaxing point. Whenever we could feel we are too busy, we go and relax. The other thing we saw was that whenever we are at work, we don't always cooperate. Someone will be selfish, whatever he had. But when we are in the forest, we become cooperative. We talk to each other at a low frequency and we understand each other, understand to help each other. So that's what we learned from the forest and we are still appreciating it just because of the nature of the weather that is disturbing us. But when it comes normal, we are continuing to go with it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses.
You're
We could hear, oh, sorry. We could hear you better this time, so that's great. What was I going to say? You were quoting some of those things from your experiences, and now it's like these are things that we are that are scientifically proven, that we become more pro-social and all these terms. And it's funny, I notice about myself at least that these concepts are just living, like I say them, I mention them, but then you don't stop to think, yeah, that happens, and why exactly? Why are you kinder to your fellow human in a forest? Because you feel at home. Why do you feel at home? So thanks for pointing those things out. Anyone else? Katarzyna, you were mentioning that the four ways might work in a mixture, and you made me think that perhaps depending on where we are, or I don't know what are the components that make you more open or susceptible to the message coming through. That's an interesting one. Like, when do you know that the message goes through? Why did it take me 4 years? So that's why I think it's great that there are these different ways that you can try, and then at some point the right message comes through. Okay. So anyone else want to touch upon this huge huge one and bring it over to maybe more of the forest bathing. Nitin, are you there?
Yeah. I guess a nice way to maybe close the circle could be to maybe share personal experiences of experiences in nature where one has experienced something closer to being connected to a larger self or selflessness, if or like Kiev was saying, universal love, a feeling of any experience from nature, and that moment, maybe that would be a good memory to share and close the circle before we go our separate ways. I can start. For me, it was in the mountains. There is this region of India where there's a lake which forms tiny islands of forest islands. And I was sitting there on sunset, and as the sun was setting, the lake was changing colors and the sky was changing colors because, and the birds were flying home. So there were two different worlds. One was above, and there was a world inside the lake, and everything was changing. And that was a moment where I felt that, we are all part of these different worlds, and the only thing that life offers is this change. And that was a very peaceful moment for me to accept and let go. So that was my moment from nature.
It reminds me that you walk between worlds. Last year in Korea, it was similar situation, sunset at the top of the mountain and two different worlds. One was the world of wild nature, the forest, and on the other side, it was just pure civilizations with high buildings and all the industry. And it was also about making choices, about change, about coexistence somehow. So yeah, sometimes we need to stay on the border and check out which one is ours, which one is not, where we belong to. I feel you.
Yeah, it would be good to hear your story with the bison. That moment. Katrina, if Katrina's experience with the bison where was also interesting, right? You want to share that?
I'm waiting for other people to share their stories, and then I can close with a bang. No.
Oh, okay, yeah. Something that happened to me. It's almost 50 years ago now, but because I've always surfed. But I was out in the water, and there was only myself and one other surfer, and there's a pod of dolphins came in, and they was diving out of the water and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if the old surfer freaked out or what, but he went in. So that left me out there by myself and all these dolphins around me. But I was sitting astride my surfboard, and a mother and calf swam right underneath me. Like they were close enough that if I'd reached down, I could have touched them. And that always impacted me so strongly because animals are always so protective of their young, and yet this female dolphin with her calf just swam right underneath me within touching distance. And I always, just the sense of trust that dolphin must have had in me, that I wouldn't harm her calf. It's never left me, that feeling, that kind of interspecies trust. It was just something that was so powerful. Yeah, I've never experienced that since with a wild animal, but yeah, just I still, because with my own daughter, like most parents, yeah, still very particularly when they're young, and yeah, just couldn't believe that dolphins are just totally trustworthy, I guess. Yeah.
Great that you remember it even so vividly and so
Oh
fondly.
yeah. It's very vivid in my mind.
Anyone else who can? And if you can't talk, well, you can't. If you're driving, you can't chat either. So, but let's wait and see if Justina.
Hello, everybody. This what you talk about reminds me about my experience while traveling, and I was in Canada and looking at the beautiful waterfalls in the forest. There was a group of people who were jumping to the water, and I was so excited that I wanted to join them, and I also jumped. And unfortunately, I didn't know the place well enough as they did, and I almost drowned there because I couldn't go out of the water. And there was a moment when I realized that you have to fully experience the message, the place, the message you have to take away. It's good to know the place. And now why I'm talking about this, because when I watch those beautiful movies, inspiring movies that you attach to our meeting, the ones from India were inspiring, were breathtaking, and it was good to see, to realize how beautiful the world is, and that people live there and use this nature as it is, and they take it as as it is over there. But it's something that I'm not used to it. It's inspiring, but I rest in my own environment. When I watched the one from the forest, probably Catherine, that was yours one, and this one was close to my environment. And what I wanted to say, that it works for me the best when it's something that I'm used to it. While resting everyday life in the forest, like the one from yours, was the one that I could rest. The other one was inspiring, was breathtaking. But sometimes I feel like we are seeking far, trying to find the rest, but it is available closer. For me, that's how it works. And also, I have heard this line that from someone from India, that they're kind of scared that people in other cultures go so deep into yoga without knowing and understanding the background, spiritual background. And sometimes we don't appreciate what we have, what is closer to us, to our culture. We're seeking far. Now when I see my teenager kids and they talk about their future spouses, they want to have someone from the other side of the globe, because they feel like there's no one here close to them that will be good enough. But I feel like it's good to know. It's also, when we talk about fruits, for instance, when we eat fruit which are from our part of the world, they're better adjustable for us. When we eat fruits which are exotic, not from our environment, they're not that beneficial for us. Somehow genetically, or some other things help us to use it. So sometimes when you said about the crisis, that when we go through the crisis, forest is helpful, and it also connected me with the need of master. So when we go through the crisis and we have the master, we go easier through it. And when we know how to use forests, nature, it helps us go to crisis and to take away from crisis what we have to learn. And with the master, it's easier. There is a verse in the Bible that says, when I'm weak, I'm strong. And it's not about my strength in weakness, but it's about my strength in my master that I admire, that I appreciate. So thank you for bringing this topic, and I'm thankful for the outcome I have for myself. So I love to travel, but to realize that I rest the best in my landscape. Thank you.
Thank you, Justina. I'm checking if I'm on mute. Thank you so much for that. It was nice surprise that to hear you, because often we have a bad timing, so it was nice to have you join. Because I saw you also who had your mic on. Did you want to share your story?
I just don't want you to talk to a black screen, so I turned it on. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, Bikash.
Yeah. Nowadays, I notice connections. Since I'm practicing nature connection, I see connections in my thoughts. Whenever um, there are many events, but some events I want to share. Like one moment when I was walking near the river, small river, that there was a event that my ear noticed yelling some kind of strange sound, and I noticed what is happening here in the landscape, and it was a different noise, but it stopped me moving because I stopped while hearing some different noise, and I see a snake is having a frog. I see through my eyes that the sound was the different. When my ear first noticed it was unusual, I scan what is happening here. But when my eye noticed that the event that the snake is eating frog, then I feel the two different emotions. One, my identity as a biologist, that is it. I should whether I should let it be or I should be tossed by the yelling sound of the frog. It was a confusing situation at that time because there was a frog sound was a bit different. He was in pain, and my heart noticed, and I stopped, and I thought whether I should leave at ease or I should make the frog free. And I wait. It was a cognitive dissonance at the moment, but I put a small stick towards the snake, and the frog was released, and I feel that was the connecting through the heart of the frog. This was the one connective moment I want to share, and it was maybe uh, 6 7 years ago. I remember that moment was also some interesting moment.
Thank you. That's beautiful. That's really yeah, lovely. I wonder about Paulina Moses, if you can share one of these. Oh, Paulina, let's read it because it's in the chat. She shared here that wait, let me see. So when I was taken out, this is Paulina's then. When I was taken out on a stretcher to the ambulance, it was snowing and I was outside for the first time in 10 days. I cried with happiness, and the snow melted on my cheeks and combined with tears. I knew I was connected to nature. It was amazing for me. I was touched. And now we're touched too. Thank you. Just Senfuma has mentioned here that it has become routine for us to go out for relaxation in the green, and we learn to be cooperative to one another, and nature has become our teacher and guide. So I think Sarah was asking, do we need a teacher for these things? So here we have the answer. And then it's about being some sort of the role of the guide is then something that we can discuss again at another circle, I suppose. We are going towards the end, so I'll share mine as well. So also, like because you said there are many, but one that comes to my mind is and connects to what Maita was also talking about, the synchronicity. So I was probably it was after an IFT Days event like this, but my thoughts were in, I don't have an animal guide. Like, is there something wrong with me? I am so, like, I'm not sensitive enough. I thought I was, but something is lacking. So then I was with this thought, I was walking to the place where I went for my morning coffee, very close to habitation around everywhere, but it was kind of forest-rich place. And it was a matter of seconds after this thought when 4 baby foxes appeared in front of my path, and it was clear. And for me, it was foxes are. I've recognized now, looking back, that every time there's a big change in my life, foxes appear in different stage, whether they're dead, whether they're wounded, something. But this was a clear answer, no. So I was confirmed. That's what I wanted to share. Okay. Has everyone shared who wanted to tell about their nature experience?
Maybe I will add one small from the Białowieża forest. This is the oldest forest in Poland. It is about 12,000 years old, so pretty old, from the last, I don't know the English word, when there was a lot of ice, and the ice melted, and then a forest started to appear. So it's old. And I had only one time in my life the experience that my ego was dissolved, like completely, like I wasn't existed like myself, but I was existing. But my idea was that what I'm doing here, I am, but there was no I. It was just am. Was, but not I was. So it was amazing because I was everything at once, the moss, the beetle, the trees, the past, the future. There was no time, no human things. It was just existent, and it was so on the one hand wonderful because a lot of freedom came, but also scary. And I was wondering, is it similar when you eat, magic mushrooms? Because I heard that they dissolve personality for a while. So I don't know, I don't have experiences. But if someone says that you can, be dissolved and feel free. So I say, okay, I don't need, MDMA. You just go to the forest and you can be freed from your ego for a while. So it was really a strong experience, but I still don't know if it was nice. It was surprising.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And just to acknowledge the ones on quiet or mute or cameras off. Thanks for being here, Martina, as well. I know you're just listening today because of your location, but thanks for being here. Oh, and it was great. This topic came from somewhere, and then I'm really happy that you guys flew into it. So next time, March, we will be talking with William from Hong Kong. So please tune in. And on the website now, we're trying to be a little bit more organized. So we will have the dates of the coming up meetings. So we'll have Marches for the friends from Hong Kong, and then we will see you guys hopefully there. Have a lovely Saturday.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Katrina.
See you next time. Thank you.
Oh, stop recording.